Join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Public. There's no public.
Because it kept it turned around.
Okay, roll call, Sam Martin,
Yes.
Bob Freeman. I think so. And Rick Mulligan here. Short public input. Harry, anything to add before we start the red folder?
No.
Okay.
I have some questions later on, if I can do them, but I don't have any.
All right.
Except I don't know why the hell I looked at this job description.
Sit up there. All right, first thing we have are the minutes of the Selectmen's meeting which occurred on Monday, August 14th. I make a motion we accept them as printed. All in favor? Aye. We have the check voucher totals. Payroll for week ending 8/19 was $38,410.13. Accounts payable for week ending 8/12 was $61,432.09 for a total disbursed of $99,842.22. We also had water and sewer accounts payable for week ending 8/12 in the amount of $4,289.63. I make a motion we sign them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For the benefit of those viewing, we do also review each and every bill, and we all have to initial it. These are just the voucher totals. We've looked at every bill. It also may seem like we blow through this red folder pretty quickly, but we have all individually had a chance to review and read everything that's in here prior to the meeting. Next, we have a notice of intent to cut wood. This is on map 42, lot 3, Pinder Mill Road, 31 acres. The owner is Christopher Helm. The logger is Greenleaf Products. The taxes have been paid. Make a motion, we approve it. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have a notice of intent to cut wood. This is on map 216, lots 11 and 14, and map 218, lot 33, also on Pinder Mill Road, same owner. Christopher Helm and Katrin Hodgson, Greenleaf Products. Taxes been paid. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a request for a veteran's exemption. It's been through our assessor. It's been okayed by the person who does in fact qualify. Make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a contract for use of facilities, 2 tables and 30 chairs. This is for the 22nd. Connie Billings, I make a motion we approve it. All in favor? Aye. This is somewhat of a large packet, and I'm going to ask Ellen to jump in if we need to, but this is an agreement for us to cooperate with the United States Department of Commerce on the 2020 census. Ellen, I know you explained this to me, but do you want to take a shot at it again?
Okay.
What this is?
We have the option to participate in the census, or we can pass it on to higher government, being the county. What benefit it provides to us is being able to give input on all the residences that will be visited for the census update. And I figure, looking into it, it's not going to have a whole lot of impact on time spent by the town, but it will be able to provide us with some information about residences. And it is all strictly confidential. It's to be kept between the liaison and any representatives that are assisting with the data collection, but they're going to need assistance from assessing records and that type of stuff. So in order for the census to be accurate, they're asking for the town or local government input.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. I make a motion, we sign.
Second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm also going to make a motion to appoint Ellen as our liaison for that purpose.
Second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. One needed one signature. We have a petition for our poll license. It's on Broad Bay Road. Make a motion, we sign. All in favor?
Aye.
There are 3 copies, same thing. I'll leave one of you to fill in the date. We got notified by the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources that Steve Kessler, who was our forest ranger, has resigned from the Bureau to join another department. They have divided the district to provide coverage until a new ranger is hired. It says, please review the attached table for the assigned captain for your town. If you need assistance, who to contact. Well, for Ossipee, our captain assigned is a Captain John Accardi. He's in Lancaster. His telephone and email information is here. And we make sure that, I'm sure he already has it, and we make sure that our timber monitor has that.
Mm-hmm.
We have the final report on our audit for 2017 from Plodsick and Sanderson. We sailed through the audit again with virtually no problems. Where the one detrimental comment, if you will, is one that we've been working on for 2 years, and it has to do with us inventorying our capital assets. We literally have to go out and value every single mile of town road, every bridge, every building, every vehicle, and they use that in calculating the financial position of the town. Things like buildings and vehicles we've been doing right along, of course, because they're insured, but there was a whole lot of other stuff, including the sewer system and water system and everything that we're still working on getting that data inputted. So, long story short, it went very, very well. It is here if anybody would like to read it.
Very much, yeah. Did you get any financial help on that, this from the state or anybody to, all these miles and stuff that we gotta measure and everything?
It's actually all done. We've already got the legwork is done. It's down just a case of getting all that stuff inputted into the computer. We had to buy an add-on to our computer program to allow us to track it, but we've bought that. So we're in the process. It'll be finished up
This year?
this year. So, last week, I made a motion to sign a joint statement with the Freedom Board of Selectmen regarding the lawsuit which occurred between Freedom and Ossipee. I had prepared a draft letter, which we sent over to them, and they removed and did not like the first 5 paragraphs, which was fine. They took those out and left the remainder. So the remainder is what we signed and agreed to last week. They subsequently, on Monday night, made additional changes to the statement and then signed it themselves. I'm gonna let last week's statement speak for itself, and as far as I'm concerned, Freedom can speak for Freedom and Ossipee will speak for Ossipee, but there's more to be said on this subject before it's done, I'm afraid. Anybody have anything you want to add to that? No.
I agree.
Okay. We had a complaint last week, which was provided to the Board of Selectmen regarding people who were not, were driving right by the scales and dumping demolition material, et cetera, at the dump without paying. It was brought to our attention by a resident who did get on the scales and pay, and he didn't feel it was fair, and I quite frankly agree with him. We have kicked that back to both the Public Works Director as well as the foreman at the incinerator. They have reviewed the complaint, they have provided a written response to us, and I believe that they are putting procedures in place which will minimize that from occurring in the future. We have a notice of decision from the Planning Board regarding case number 17-7-SPRA, Melbourne Village Marina. A waiver was granted. It's here in the folder if anybody would like to look at it.
It was amended, isn't it?
It was an amended,
Yeah.
it says a waiver was granted. There was a notice of decision on case number 17-2-BLA, and it was a boundary line adjustment which was granted on
Oh, yeah.
Water Village Road. And there was a notice of decision on case number 17-8-SPR, which is McDonald's Restaurant, Tramway Marketplace. New site plan review was granted for redevelopment of the site, including upgrades to the drive-through, renovations to the building, and construction of a new trash enclosure in compliance with ADA regulations. Those decisions are here in the folder if anybody would like to look at them. We received, all of us, I believe you received them as well, in our box, a letter from some folks who have moved into town. It's a fairly long letter, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. It starts off, the letter praises our public works crew, our code enforcement officer, our fire chief, and how helpful they were in getting all of their permits and through the building process. The majority of the letter then goes in to complain about people shooting in Archer's sand pit on the weekends. And in particular, the exploding targets like the tanite and those, and how loud they are and disruptive they are. And these folks would like us to amend the noise ordinance to prevent people from shooting on Sundays, amongst other suggestions. You two can gladly speak up for yourself, but I am going to offend my liberal friends who know my position already that, one, I believe an armed society is a polite society. The issue of the tanite and some of the exploding targets, I believe, is an issue for the legislature. If they choose to regulate them, that's fine. But I don't think those rules should change town to town to town to town. As far as being able to shoot recreationally on Sunday, again, I only speak for myself, but I would never, ever support any ordinance which restricted people from shooting any more than I would from hunting on Sunday or otherwise.
And I'll second that.
The particular area that they're complaining about is one, private property. It's not town property, it's not property that we control. And two, even past this particular person, there are a whole lot of people who have a shooting area on their own property that is completely legal, completely safe. And we have received the letter, and I am giving you my thoughts on answering it. And if you two would like to jump in, by all means, please do.
I live with it every day.
You can't put a regulation out. When I was in, and I don't know if you have it out, when I was in the legislature, in fact, I was one of the sponsors of the bill. At that time, we had each town putting different regulations in. You didn't know where you could go, where you couldn't. So the legislature passed a bill which essentially says that no ordinance law or whatever can be made regarding firearms or ammunition without approval of the legislature on any, it's not private, but on any public place. And I think it's still in existence. I don't know why it would be gone out. So from that standpoint, I think that's true.
Yeah, well, do you want to add something to that, Ed?
Well, it's just, you don't have the authority to do anything like that, and it's RSA 159.26. One thing that happens in some towns is they will, have a warrant article put in stating that they will create a compact zone. So that would be able to have them limit, but you don't have that here. So I don't know how you can answer that other than it's RSA 159.26 and the legislature controls firearms.
Yep, yep. That would be my agreement anyway, so. Yep. I mean, the other logical part of that is, I mean, in the state of New Hampshire, it's completely legal to hunt on Sundays, and who shoots when and where is, you know, just not something I think the town government ought to be involved with anyway, so. Anybody want to add anything to that? You good? Okay. Have we heard back from the planning board yet on this issue of the,
We tabled last week just because other people still have to go look at it. There's a little discussion over the hills, over the hillocks.
okay, this is regarding the cleanup of the former Morse pit, so we're going to continue to table that, I guess, for now. Received it's a copy of a check we received for scrap metal from Northeast Resources Recovery in the amount of $475.10. We have a schedule of meetings which are coming up, and this is from the Governor's Advisory Commission on Intermodal Transportation. So the schedule of meetings are coming, and what district they're in is here in the folder for anybody to look at if they'd like. I received a letter, again somewhat lengthy, but it starts out by on July 22nd, there was an incident which occurred at Danville Pond where a gentleman flipped over his kayak, was fished out by a passing boat, and ultimately collapsed with a massive heart attack. There were several people who helped that individual that were bystanders and other campers from the campground. Ultimately, that person was treated by our personnel and then transported, and unfortunately he died 12 days later as a result of complications from the accident. But that being said, it appears that a whole lot of people did a whole lot of good. This letter is from a lady who recommends that we recognize and has provided some names of those people who helped treat that gentleman at the scene. I guess my only concern with this is, first of all, I applaud anybody that goes to anybody else's aid. My only concern is in fact this a complete list?
No.
You know, are we going to be leaving out people by picking and choosing who we recognize having helped this gentleman? So, while I want to acknowledge receipt of the letter, and I certainly want to applaud anybody, again, who went to this gentleman's aid and tried to help. I don't know that I want to go any further than that at the risk of leaving out somebody. Any thoughts? That concludes the red folder, with the exception of, there is a contract in here and a proposed contract on the paving. However, it is regarding the paving which we need to discuss in the public hearing at 5 o'clock. So I'm going to hold on to this for now. We can't act on it until after that public hearing. Old business. Anything, Ellen, on back on that FEMA correspondence from a week ago?
I did reach out to the two contacts that were listed in the message. I left full messages for them both last week, and I haven't heard anything back.
Okay, if you would make sure and follow up on that. Intersection of 28 and 171. The meeting was here last Monday night. I did come. Brad Harriman was here. It was a relatively good turnout. They presented two proposals. One would be the traffic lights, and the second would be a roundabout. There was a pretty good consensus gained that the traffic lights, while would be certainly an improvement over what we have now, it would not truly fix the problem. That the desired route at this point appears to be the installation of a roundabout. That can't, by the time because they have to do some work on getting right-of-way access and taking some land, not a lot, but a little bit from 2 or 3 of the corners, that likely won't occur until 2020. They have got a plan to try to do some little improvements in the meantime, including the possibility of installing rumble strips, which are the
Pavement?
sideways on the 171 roads, trying to avert those people who run on the lights because of the stop sign, because we think they don't know it's there. They're also going to work on some signage. One of the things that I brought up, which I have brought up for 20 years, is the installation of a decent-sized sign that says, "Cancel your blinker." The town actually put a little one up on its property down next to Isaac Buzzell Road. The problem is it's small and it's off to the side, and quite frankly, you can't see it. I've been asking the state to approve such a sign for more than 20 years. They never have. It is not a quote-unquote approved sign. And what I asked them the other night was simply if the town puts one up, that they not take it down. They hemmed and they hawed in the sense that I don't think anybody necessarily wanted to make that commitment, but I did, before the end of the meeting, get a commitment from an official at DOT that said if we do in fact put one up, they will not take it down. It gets a little funky because we are actually going to be spending, if we choose to do this, Ossipee money to put a sign on a state road. My justification for that is that there are Ossipee people that drive through that intersection every single day. I'm going to suggest, and it won't be a case that we're giving it to the state, we're going to loan it to them until they get the intersection fixed. That I'm going to suggest that we purchase a 2-foot by 4-foot sign that says, "Cancel your blinker," and install it down on 28. And I think we can do it adjacent to the town right away, right next to Route 28, and be closer to Route 28 with a commitment that DOT is not going to steal it from us.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
If you, when Brad comes back tomorrow, I'd like that expedited. Kind of the problem, and I'm glad that they're doing it. Mind you, we've all been involved with this thing now, some of us for years and years and years at that intersection. I'm kind of disappointed it's going to take until 2020, but I do think that's going to be a permanent fix. But I will say this, and I said it the other night, the problem with that is if history is any example, and it usually is, we can expect another 12 to 15 serious motor vehicle accidents in that intersection, and we can expect that at least one person's going to die
That's sad.
before that intersection is rendered truly safe. I just would like, and I hope, and I think they are serious, and I just think that this little step here is one little piece of the puzzle that maybe we can do to mitigate that as best we can until those highway improvements go in.
Very good idea.
All right, Water and Sewer Department rules and regulations are done. They're just being final draft. Drug prevention education / treatment request for youth facilities / activities. Our town administrator took a call this week from a lady who lives in town who was of the opinion that the town needs to do more for teenage programs, et cetera, as an answer or a part of an answer to the drug problem. On its face, I don't necessarily disagree. I don't know, though, how much more we can do than what we're doing. But that concern has in fact been relayed to our recreation director, and it's something that as we go into the budget process, we will continue to talk about and look at. The teenagers are a very, very, very difficult dynamic. They're difficult to reach. What we think teenagers want to do is generally about 180 degrees opposite of what the teenagers want to do. So it's something that we need to continue to look at as best we can. Anything else under old business?
Nope.
Ellen? New business. It is with a great deal of excitement that we announced tonight that the town of Ossipee has in place a purchase and sales agreement to buy what is Camp Secaucus. It's a 52-acre parcel of land. For those who are familiar at all on Old 16 where Gretchen Road is, it's a 52.84 parcel of land, and most importantly contains 200 feet of frontage and beautiful beach on Ossipee Lake. We have, over the last few years, in fact 2 years ago I kind of primed the budget committee. Last year's town meeting we raised a warrant article, specifically established a capital reserve account with the stated intention of purchasing a Ossipee Town Beach on Ossipee Lake. This has been a long time coming. For those of us who grew up here, and there are several in this room, we have all listened to people complain and chagrin the fact, my whole life, that the town of Ossipee does not have a beach on Ossipee Lake. And I'm hoping that we're about to change that. So we right now have a purchase and sales agreement in place, and it is in the amount of $1.2 million. It's certainly not chump change. This was a necessary step to start the rest of the process. What will happen now, or the planned procedure, is that we have already instructed our town attorney to seek permission from the Carroll County Superior Court for the town to have a special town meeting, most likely in the month of November. Presuming that is granted, which I believe it will be, there will be a series of public hearings. The budget committee will certainly be involved and have its ability to weigh in on it. But ultimately it will be the townspeople who get to decide at that special town meeting if they do want a beach and if this is the one. A couple of quick things. I want to give an especially warm shout out to Bill and Diane Sheehan, who are the current owners. And I will be, and the townspeople deserve a great deal of thanks that they are giving us this opportunity, because there were literally other parties standing in line, cash in hand, to purchase this property. So the fact that they've given us this opportunity speaks volumes about their character, and they deserve our appreciation. It is as I said, it's the Camp Secaucus, which currently has 45 seasonal campsites. It has, I believe, 24 boat slips and 4 moorings. There are a lot of details to be worked out over the next couple of months. But there is actually, I believe, an opportunity to keep maybe 30 of the seasonal sites, possibly keep many of the boat slips, and the revenue generated by those campsites and those boat slips will pay the bond for the beach. It presents a pretty good opportunity to end up with the beach and not have the taxpayers have to pay anything for it. So that's one of the possibilities. The rumor mill has already started. There are people who are saying that we're paying $2 million for it, and there's all kinds of restrictions. What I encourage people to do is to stay tuned to us. If you have a question, come to us. We negotiated an extremely clean purchase and sales agreement. The only stipulations that we have agreed to in the purchase and sales is that Gretchen Road will be known as Gretchen Road in perpetuity.
The Birches will stay.
That road was named after their daughter, who is deceased. There are quite a few birch trees on the property, and we have agreed that we will refrain from cutting down the white birches unless it's absolutely necessary, and again, because those were planted in memory of their daughter. And that 3, any seasonal campsites which remain, we will not go up on their rent for 3 years. Those are the only restrictions or stipulations that are in that purchase and sales agreement. So it's exceedingly clear and very clean. I felt that that was very important because in the process of these public hearings, we're going to be looking for the townspeople's input in how they want to see this, work its way up. Townspeople may say, you know something, we don't want to be in the campground business. We want to just buy it and have a beach. They can do that. They can do that with this purchase and sales agreement because it is exceedingly clean with no restrictions. So there's a lot more to come. But this has been a long time coming. This literally, I believe, will be one of the most significant acquisitions the town has made in 100 years. And
Talk about Parks and Recreation.
yeah, there's a lot of things there's a lot of work that needs to go into it. I mean, we're gonna look at maintenance and costs after the fact and everything else, but if the townspeople are serious, and everything that I've been hearing has been very positive, and I'm sure there'll be some negatives, if the townspeople truly want a beach on Ossipee Lake, this very likely is their last opportunity.
Last opportunity.
Because the availability of sites is very limited, and you would literally have to look at going into a neighborhood and buying 2 or 3 houses and tearing them down. If I were to pick a place on Ossipee Lake where I would like to have a town beach and an access, I would pick Camp Secaucus. It has a road which will ultimately be owned by the town, but it goes right from Route 16B in an absolute straight as narrow shot right to the beach. We couldn't ask for a better layout. We will be meeting with our Public Works Director, our Highway Foreman, probably White Mountain Survey. There's a lot of work to be done to get some placking plans and everything else, but it is, I think, an exciting day. Harry, I know you've been working on it for 15 years, and I was with you 15 years ago when we tried to get access into Lone Pine.
That's what we saw on the stage.
Yeah, when you screamed, but it's been a long time coming, and I know that you've been very interested in it for a long time.
If I can do anything at all, help on this thing, just let me know.
I think all hands on deck. There's a lot of work to be done.
Yep.
And anybody that has any interest in participating and helping with the planning, by all means, throw your hat in the ring, because there's a lot of work to be done. But exciting times. So hold the phone, there'll be more coming. And as soon as we get the permission for the special town meeting, we'll announce that, obviously, and that'll start the process of public hearings and budget committee involvement and all of the rest of the stuff that goes with it. Exciting times. Anyone want to add to it? No?
Awesome thing.
Yep. I think it'll be good, real good. Any other public input? Not that there's anybody from the public here, but Billy, did you have anything?
No.
Okay. We didn't have any need for a non-public? No. I'm gonna move that we recess for 10 minutes until we have the public hearing scheduled at 5 o'clock for the acceptance of the highway block funds.
Yep.
Move to recess?
Yes,
Second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay, I'm going to reconvene the meeting.
Thank you, sorry.
We do have a scheduled public hearing scheduled for now. I'll read the notice. It was notice is hereby given that the Town of Ossipee Board of Selectmen Hold a public hearing pursuant to RSA 3195B here in this gymnasium at Town Hall 55 Main Street on Monday, August 21st at 5 o'clock to receive public comment and input on accepting and spending unanticipated funds this year. Under Senate Bill 38, the town has received $151,081.10 in addition to the normal highway block grant money. Legislation states that no funds should be used for supplanting locally budgeted and approved funds for road or bridge maintenance or construction. It is 5 o'clock. I hereby open the public hearing. Anybody want to comment on it?
Take the money.
Run.
Briefly, we do have a plan for the money, and that is to, give me back that one from the asphalt place, the last one in there. Our Public Works Director, knowing that this money was coming, came up with a plan, and that is to install a fiber mat chip seal on both Doors Corner Road and Elm Street. The actual total to do those is $157,407.45, of which $151,081.10 would come with this money that we're receiving under Senate Bill 38.
Do we have enough left in our other budget?
We do.
Cover it?
Hello. Are you here for the public hearing? Okay. We have opened the public hearing, so if you would like to comment, please do. You're the only one so far.
Do I stand?
Sure.
All right, Joy Gagnon in Ossipee. And I just mostly wanted to hear what you planned or thought of doing with the money, but I wanted to put my input in
Sure.
that I think we need sidewalks. I know you all know that we do, but I didn't know if that was something that this money could be used for. But
Sidewalks where, I guess is the quick question.
well, I mean, there'd be great to do lots of them, but for sure sidewalks through town, because I know the past year it's been really difficult. There was one day I was driving through to drop my kids off, and there were kids walking to school, and it was winter, so they were in the road. And as I was going through town, a school bus was going by me, and I just don't know where those kids were able to go to get out of the way. And there were a couple situations like that, but definitely in town, but it'd be nice if it was up Moultonville and down on Old 16 or wherever people could walk to try to get out.
Okay. Couple of quick things, and I couldn't agree with you more on the issue of sidewalks, but the difficulty that we have run into is a lot of people don't understand, but Grant Hill Road through the square and then down Folsom Road is all state highway. It's not town road. How do I put it diplomatically? Working with state government is extremely challenging.
I'll vouch for that.
We literally had started a process trying to do sidewalks, and it was under a federal program called the Safe Route to Schools program. We had started that process, and then midstream they changed the rules, required additional engineering. The long story short, I think, don't hold me to the exact figure, but I think we were up to about $150,000 to do the same length of sidewalk that the town put in for $30,000. It gets that crazy. Because it's state highway, the rules are, I won't say impossible to navigate, but exceedingly difficult. So that's the only reason, quite frankly, that hasn't happened. If those were town roads, the sidewalks would already be built and at a fraction of the cost. Just before you were walking in, I was explaining, our Public Works Director had come in with a proposal to utilize this extra money, if you will, that was as a result of Senate Bill 38, to do two different roads, one being Doors Corner Road and the other to be Elm Street in Ossipee. And it's called a fiber mat chip seal, which is a, Billy help me out, it's a fiberglass matting coupled with tar and a chip seal, which is supposed to extend the length of the life of the roads.
Yeah. Brad and I went to Bristol 2 weeks ago, and they had done a road 2 years ago, and we went and looked at it, and you could not hardly see the cracks. You had to stop, kneel down, and you could actually visually see a crack there, and you could see the fiber mesh lapping the joint of the crack. It is pretty amazing stuff, and it's a new product, and it's nice.
But your point on the sidewalks is absolutely well taken. I agree.
Talk to your senators and your representatives.
One of the,
What about, so like this is town property,
Yes.
and then you have the school and the library. What if you were to, instead of trying to have it be connected to the road, what if you were to put the sidewalk on the property that is town property?
we could, on the library, but that's the only, we wouldn't have any way of connecting to it, I guess is the problem. We could do it, you're absolutely right, on the library would be the easiest fix of all of it. We could just put a sidewalk right across the front lawn, and that wouldn't be an issue. I mean, not that we would,
I mean, just something, because if you were to actually try walking from, like, I don't know, from the OCC, you know, where the kids are, to the school, there's several spots where you could sort of be on the side and you could be safe, but then there's spots where you have to go in the road. And that's what I keep wondering, if it's just possible to make it a little safer. It was just, there were several situations where the kids, because there were a lot of kids living in town, now they've moved, but it was really scary. And they're kids I know, and I would never want to see them get hurt.
I agree.
So,
I agree with that, so I agree.
but also like sidewalks on Moltenville, going, that's like a 2-mile stretch that would be really nice. There's a lot of homes through there, and people could get out walking a little bit more, if that was an option. I know if you're, you know, you guys are the ones that work with the roads, but having places to walk, Ossipee doesn't have anywhere that you can safely go to walk with kids, and I really think it would be beneficial for the community to do something.
A couple of things. I mean, one, we are, even independent of this, I don't know how involved you've been in town government before, but we're, in the month of September, we'll be starting our budget reviews. And then there'll be, it's a fairly long process that goes, and then the budget committee, and ultimately at town meeting. There is always within those times as well, the opportunity to add ideas and then add money. I mean, unfortunately, everything comes with a dollar sign, and we all know that, so. Even if, what I'm saying to you is even, and I'm pretty sure that this money is honestly probably spoken for, but that doesn't mean the issue of the sidewalk should be dead by a long shot, because I agree. I'd love to see it. I'd like to see more. In particular, this area in the square, and I don't know, as I said, I don't mean to sound completely disenchanted, but as an example, the covered bridge in West Ossipee, we've been 10 years and almost $2 million, and the bridge still isn't back across the river. And that is purely at the feet of state government. It is frustrating, to say the least. I'm convinced if that covered bridge had been a town project, it would have been completed in 3 years for $500,000. And here we are, 10 years later, $2 million in, and the bridge is still sitting on the ground, so. Ed, did you want to add anything?
Yes, I was at the delegation meeting at the county complex today, and Representative Avalani wanted me to ask, could you set aside some of this money for the roundabout project to be used in conjunction with the state to maybe speed up the process? It was just something I wanted to put out there, have you think about it, because I think maybe if the state knew that there was some of that money that you may be willing to use that for the project, maybe it could go faster.
It's not a state road.
I doubt it.
I'm not, yeah, well, listen, it's always worth discussing, but I know there was a process at one point. I don't know that the town could spend money on that state road. That bears some looking into. There was a program years ago where the town, in fact, did contribute money towards working on secondary state roads, because there are a lot of them, like Browns Ridge Road. This road right here is as an example where it's not a primary highway, but yet it is state-owned. And there was a process where town funds were used to match and therefore get the state to do work on those secondary roads. I'm gonna ask you to actually maybe do some peeking. I'm not sure that you could use town funds on a major state highway. I don't know if that would even be permissible. I don't know if we could get that through DRA. But interesting thought.
The state should have just kept it all, then they would have had something to build it.
The road,
You kept the money.
engineering fees.
Yeah, kept it all and put it towards the road and roundabout.
Bite your tongue.
I know, sorry.
Every time we get a little bit of our tax money back, I'm happy.
Me too.
Anybody have anything else?
Rick, I got something on a different subject, if I could, I forgot to mention before, just if I could just mention it.
Okay.
In front of the old drugstore where Bill Grover has his place there are two cars always parked there. The line, he painted the lines himself. And I don't object to that, but twice in the last couple of weeks, I've come the other way at that stop sign, coming up from the fire station. You can't see, if it's a small car, you can't see over those cars to see a car coming down the other way. And I almost clobbered somebody twice running that stop sign because I couldn't see anything. I don't know if there's anything you can or should do about it, but it's not good.
A couple of things. One, I've seen you drive, and if there'd been nobody parked there, you probably still would have tried to almost clobbered somebody. That being said, it is, well, one, it's a couple of things that are in play there. If you remember though, those parking spaces in front of them when it was a drugstore were perpendicular parking spaces, so
The cars were bigger.
it was even
White too.
more so now.
Yeah, that was the same way.
Well, one of the problems, I think, is they've got the stop line and stop sign back too far on Folsom Road. And if you stop where you are legally obliged to stop, which is at the stop sign and the stop line, you cannot see. You can't see the cars even coming down Holmville Road. I don't know how they necessarily fix that, because you end up in the middle of the square. So, I think that's gonna be an issue for DOT. I'm not sure how they're gonna fix
That's
that.
all state property, yeah, that's all. We plow that during the winter, but we plow it.
But if you stop where you're legally obligated to stop, you can't see anything. You can't see even the cars coming down Molten Road. The only way of really doing that would be to somehow extend that lane, but then you'd end up with the stop sign and the stop line out in the middle of the,
Yeah.
That's where it used to be, right in the middle of the road.
yeah. Which I'm sure they wouldn't have for snow plowing purposes, but I don't know how else you're gonna fix the site problem.
I've had the same thing coming from Moltenville going left on the Folsom because of what's parked in the restaurant. Because they park so close to the road, some of those trucks, can't see. You just have to pay attention.
All right, anything else on the public hearing portion?
I might make another thing about
Sure.
the road that we live on. We live on Spring Tavern Road. It connects over to Walker Hill Road. It's shut down in the winter time, which is fine. But I think a couple weeks ago, this guy in this giant tractor trailer with a flatbed ended up taking his GPS, trying to go up and over this road, and it had just been graded. He ended up sliding down and getting stuck sideways. And it's not a road for big trucks, but because it's not posted, people who aren't from around here don't know that. So I didn't know if you guys could consider putting a sign out that, like, I don't know if it's a weight limit or not a throughway or something, but it's just, he didn't know.
I talked to Brad about that, because I had talked to your husband, and I talked to Brad about it, and he was gonna look into it, to see if they can put a sign there.
Yeah, on both
You know,
sides.
no tractor trailers or something
I
like that.
think you can put a no through trucking.
No through trucking,
No
right?
through
That-
trucking,
Right.
It's happened more than once, and people
Yeah.
just don't know.
And we do have one on Spring Tavern,
That's our end.
yeah, no, excuse me, I'm on the wrong end. Walker Hill, and we have a no through trucking on that end.
Oh.
Maybe we need to
Maybe we need to add one on the other
On
end,
that end, we do.
yeah.
You need it before they get stuck on, like, you need it at the beginning of the road.
Yeah, we could, because Thompson Mill Road comes off, we can put one there, and like I said, I'll talk with Brad, just.
Put that on your list.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Billy.
Anything else on the public hearing?
I don't have anything.
All right. I'm gonna make a motion that the town accept the additional funds of $151,081.10. Make a motion, we accept that money from the state.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
So that is the,
Oh, we have to have one, right?
Yeah, that's the end of that. I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We do still have before us from earlier, proposed contract with Allstate Asphalt to do the fiber mat chip seal, Doors Corner Road would amount to $82,157.85. Elm Street would result in $75,249.60 for a total of $157,407.45. Any discussion?
Where was the remainder of that money coming from?
I would just go on to your regular highway budget.
Highway budget.
It's about $6,000.
All right. Yep. I'll second.
I make a motion that we sign the contract.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody have anything else? If not, I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.